Hello everybody, welcome to Awesome Wrestling Buddy. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already and drop a like on this video. I'm trying to hit 100k subscribers at some point, so your subscription would be much appreciated. Also drop a like on this channel. It only takes 1 second. It makes a massive difference in how the video performs in the YouTube algorithm. Today we are talking about the Boston Celtics, and I'm actually a couple of days late on this particular topic, but there was a report released about Jaylen Brown and the Celtics actually having offered him in a trade for Kevin Durant to the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, I believe the officially reported trade package was Brown and like a first-round pick. I think maybe Derek White was included. All I know is like I don't remember the specific trade, but I know the report was they straight up offered it. Like officially, a trade offer was submitted. They clicked OK in the 2K trade finder. They were trying to trade for Kevin Durant, and they offered Jaylen Brown for him. Of course, hearing about this trade and it not actually having gone through, that means that the trade didn't fucking happen. And instead, we're talking about this report, and what's important about that, this isn't just some simple report of like, hey, this guy was traded or offered and then the trade didn't go through. Those types of reports happen all the time. What was interesting is that after this report went through, Jaylen Brown had a tweet. He just tweeted, shaking my head. Well, SMH specifically, he didn't spell it out. But the title of this video is going to be The Celtics Are Playing with Fire. And that's exactly my takeaway from this particular situation, because the Celtics did offer Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant. Jaylen Brown not happy about being offered in trades. Now, I will say, looking at it objectively, yeah, Kevin Durant's better than Jaylen Brown. But I can also understand why someone in Jaylen Brown's position, a player who has more than exceeded expectations as an individual, more than outplayed his contractual obligations because the guy is way better than the money that he makes, a guy who was really key for them in the playoffs, got them to the NBA Finals, was their best player in the NBA Finals because of how poorly Jason Tatum performed. For him to then, after all of that, be offered in trades again, because mind you, Jaylen Brown has a long fucking history of being in trade rumors and trade reports, being offered in trades for other star level players. We have been talking about Jaylen Brown as a trade chip almost since he came into the league. Like, Kawhi Leonard is the one that stands out as the big one, is that he was really in, he was, I believe he was legitimately like directly offered for Kawhi Leonard at one point. We talked about him for Anthony Davis when that was going on. I think even James Harden was in talks with Jaylen Brown specifically. I think both times. So to that end, Jaylen Brown probably feels as though, being that he has exceeded expectations as a player because no one really thought he was going to be as good as he is, being that he has exceeded how good he is, like being that he's exceeded his salary, that he plays way better than his, like, what is it, $25 million a year, literally was the best player on a finals team, at least in the finals, second best player in the playoffs. For him to have finally reached these heights and they still haven't embraced him, I understand why he would be frustrated with that situation. I can also pull it back to the objective reality that Jaylen Brown is not nearly as good as Kevin Durant, but nonetheless, this is a big deal because player relations is a huge part of being a front office, and to potentially piss off Jaylen Brown after you've gone as far as you have, because like the thing that I've been saying routinely about the Celtics is, though, even though the Celtics have struggled to actually get to the finals, them getting here really is just the first step of their future, because there is almost borderline dynastic potential with this Celtics roster and this Celtics core. So I feel like them making the finals last year was just like them dipping their toes in the water. It could very well end up being like a 2012 OKC Thunder type of situation, but I truly believe this is more like a I don't know, I don't actually want to make that comparison. Like if the 2015 Warriors lost, you know, not even that high of a praise, but you get my point. Like starting off on not the biggest foot, but hey, you got to the finals at the very least. I feel like it was their step towards actually being a championship team going forward. But if you undercut that by then offering the second best player and a huge part of that core in a trade, you don't actually have the trade go through. Because, hell, if you trade for Kevin Durant, then you trade for Kevin Durant. We'll talk about that maybe towards the end here. But if you potentially pissed off Jaylen Brown is on a 2-year contract, mind you, including this season that we're heading into now. What incentives does the guy have not to leave? Especially what we've seen with this track history. A lot of people leave the fucking Celtics. The Celtics are not very good at retaining free agents. I don't know if you've picked up on that track record. Gordon Hayward, Kemba Walker, Kyrie Irving. Again, at certain points, you haven't even really wanted to retain these people. But Al Horford is someone you wanted to retain. Either way, maybe not for the money that he was offered. Either way, you're playing with fire. And the fact that you didn't actually trade him and now you've just kind of pissed him off. He also liked a tweet, I think it was like a month back, that it was like he felt like he was disrespected by Celtics fans. You know, I imagine feeling like you were a huge reason why a team is good, but that team never embraces you. That fan base never really embraces you. To the end of like constantly being in trade rumors, even when things are going well. I completely understand why you would be upset with that situation. And now the Celtics have to manage that and make sure that he's not so upset that he's gone, or so upset that he asked for a trade and now his value is diminished. Now, I guess to end out here, if you can trade for Kevin Durant, first of all, I believe the offer was like salary filler, Jaylen Brown, and a first-round pick. You're going to have to do better than that. If it was multiple first-round picks, you could probably make that deal go through. So, yeah. Kevin Durant and the Celtics is weird to me. Because, first of all, it's the whole Warriors thing again. It's like, is Kevin Durant really going to be joining the team that he just fucking lost to in the playoffs? Obviously, losing in the first round and getting swept is not quite as bad as losing in the conference finals and blowing a 3-1 lead. And the majority of the reason for your loss being your own poor play. It's not quite the same scale of like what the fuck, and the fact that he's being traded there and not signing there. But for that reason, I don't imagine Kevin Durant would love the idea of the Celtics. There's a reason they were not mentioned among his options to be traded to, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, was it mentioned? Because I know it was the Phoenix Suns was one. What was the other team that he asked to be traded to? It might have actually been the Celtics. I can't fucking remember. No. It was the Heat. It was the Heat. Yeah, it was the Miami Heat. Okay. Sorry. That was. Mine went blank there. So I don't know that Kevin Durant would be thrilled to be there. And I don't know how much people have realized this, but Jason Tatum's actually a really similar player to Kevin Durant, just in terms of like where they are on the floor. And this is a similar problem that I pointed out way back when Jimmy Butler was traded to the Timberwolves and obviously Andrew Wiggins was there. I was like, even though there is differences in their play style and differences in their talent level, they do operate in similar ways and similar areas on the floor. And if you take away, or if you pair them together, one of them is inherently going to have to switch up the way that they play the game. Like Jason Tatum or Kevin Durant are going to have to become a lot more off-ball than they probably either one of them would like. Meanwhile, Jaylen Brown, by comparison, is a player very capable of being off-ball like the whole damn game. Especially because the guy can't fucking dribble. So, Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum is a very odd duo, because they don't really complement each other, but they're also so fucking talented. You know, talent can beat the fact that there's not a seamless fit there. And I don't mean they're going to be constantly stepping on each other's toes. I mean, they're both very capable off-ball players and all that. But I just think, you know, to get the most out of Jason Tatum and the most out of Kevin Durant, you can't get the most out of both of them at the same time on the same team. So that's the problem that I see happening with the Celtics. But yeah, I don't know. I would really hate for what I feel like the future of the Celtics is supposed to be to just then be undercut by this stupid trade shit that like shouldn't be a factor, but might end up being a factor. So to that end, please don't, ruin the Celtics' potential future with this shit. It's also, maybe the Nets release this to like put pressure on the Celtics to actually make the trade go through. Either way, this report getting out is not a clean look, and Jaylen Brown being potentially upset with his situation in Boston is definitely not a good thing. So hopefully we can clean this up and move on. But yeah, that is it. Goodbye.